Here are your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast. Back to the fight nights, back to short notice bouts. We got Bata Azteca. I mean, I feel like we just saw her pretty recently, right? But guess who she comes back against? Cold-blooded Erin Blanchfield. Now, this is going to be an interesting bout. We got a lot to talk about here, especially depending on what side you're coming from. Just a few weeks ago, I was telling you how dangerous Blanchfield was, and she was slated to fight the number one contender in the division, Taila Santos. However, things happen. Former strawweight champion wanting to be the flyweight champion is stepping up, and things are going to get real interesting. But breaking it down with me, as always, is the New Mexico native, the Santa Fe bomber himself. AJ, brother, short notice, no problem. What you think? What you make of it?
I did, Derick. I'm glad you said that because it made me giggle over here. I don't know if you caught it on the mic, man, because it feels like we're back at home, man. People stepping up late notice. I forget how many fights are on this card late notice, but it feels like more than a handful. I'm excited, man. It's going to be a hell of a card, too. There's a lot of interesting picks coming from us this week. Good or bad, however you take that, man. I'm excited to break it down with you, brother. How you doing?
You know what? I'm doing good, man. And I'm actually surprised. Well, actually, give the people some clarity, man. Folks, if you didn't hear from us on like the kind of marketing side of things this past week, I was deathly ill. I don't know what happened. I was telling AJ off camera, miraculous comeback. Listen, y'all must have forgot I'm back. It doesn't even matter at this point. But just know we didn't forget about you. I was just, deathly ill doing the marketing. All right. Now, AJ, I'm glad that you're hyped up about these fights because a lot of people are not. A lot of people say this card is not very good. And this card is actually a little reminiscent to a card. Remember the one that we got at the end of last year? Derek Lewis versus Sergey Spivak #1, the first time when they were booked up. That one, like the main event dropped out. All the fun fights dropped out. It was like, what are we watching? I think it ended up being like Kennedy and Chekwu versus like Jan Kutalaba was the main event. So we have a lot better than that. We got Jessica Andrade. We got a champion here. And we got a lot of interesting people that maybe the casuals don't know about, but I think they're definitely ready to make their mark. Now, listen, let's take a look at the scoreboard before we move on. 11-7-2, aka 0-0, brother. It's day one. Let's get it. But we got to let the people know off the bat. Actually, we'll hold it for a second. Let me let them know first, folks. If you haven't subscribed yet, you should absolutely do so. Over 500 subscribers, well on our way, trying to get to 1,000. You know what time it is. AJ, if they're going to subscribe, now definitely needs to be the time. But as always, let's throw in a little incentive right there, right? What are we going to do if they shout out, the 5 stars on the social medias and whatnot on the Spotify's, right? We're going to show them some love, right?
Exactly, Derick. Not only showing you love in the show when we know people are watching, but also showing you love on Twitch, also showing you love on Instagram, Twitter, all over the place, man. If you're one of the homies that's rocking with us, rolling deep with the homies over here, man, we are going to be showing you that love, pushing you out there, letting you know that there's real people out here winning real money because we like to see it, man.
Exactly. It's literally as simple as that, folks. So go ahead, hit the subscribe button right now. I'm going to give you 2 more seconds. All right, I think we're ready. Let's get it. All right, AJ, today we're going to do it a little bit differently. And clearly you don't see anything on the board. Normally something immediately pops up on the board. It's to give you a little bit of a disclosure. Doesn't really happen. I actually can't tell you the last time this happened. But today it's Bloody Water Podcast consensus picks, right? So, AJ, that 11-7-2 we just talked about, that's not going to change, right? Ultimately, whatever it is, win or loss, it's still going to be tied up next week. But that's not the point. We're here to make you money. And if we both came to the same exact picks, that goes to show we're pretty confident about these picks. So let's talk about them. I'm going to give them a quick flash on the screen. Folks, if you are watching on YouTube right now, this is your opportunity. Take a quick screenshot because I'm about to drop it down. For those who are listening, we're going to talk about it in just 1 second. But it is as clear as day. And let's just do a quick rundown, and then obviously we'll explain them. Main event. Erin Blanchfield was originally slated to fight Taila Santos, who gave Valentina Shevchenko arguably literally, man, one of the toughest fights of her entire career. A lot of people thought Santos won. She gets matched up with a little bit of a different striker in terms of Jessica Andrade, who still has super sick jiu-jitsu. But we're still picking Jessica Andrade. Like, MMA math doesn't always make sense, man. But in like a quick 1 to 2 sentence version, why are we picking Jessica Andrade versus Blanchfield?
From what I've noticed, Derick, the better fighter doesn't always win, and sometimes it's the little mini powerhouse that puts it to your bread box, that puts you down. And that's what I'm thinking we're seeing for Andrade. Do you feel the same?
I'll tell you what. The simplest way that I could put it is that I think Blanchfield is a very efficient grappler, right? And when she can get on top, she can do some damage. Jessica Andrade is coming off of a stylistic fight that is very similar. However, I would argue that Blanchfield has a little more work to do in the striking department. And if she can't set up her grappling, Jessica Andrade is going to put it to her. So we'll see what happens. Now, co-main event, man. Jordan Wright versus Zach Pauga. So we have a former TUF finalist versus the Beverly Hills Ninja, right? Listen, man, spotty chin versus a dude who fought in TUF at heavyweight, even though he's a 205er, goes to show he really got some crack on him to get through everybody besides Usman's brother, Muhammad Usman. However, I like Zach Pauga here. Dude did his camp with Devin Clark, 205 wrestler. I mean, this is going to be a problem. What do you think?
Not only is Pauga time tested, as we've seen him build up his career in the UFC, this is one that makes me worried about Jordan Wright's chin, and it's kind of me betting against the chin on this one, man. To be honest,
but he could also knock him out too, man. That's the danger of the game that we play. And Zach Pauga, just so, like I said, so we're on the same page. Ultimate Fighter, not UFC, not UFC, tested yet. All right, Josh Parisian versus Jamal Pogues. I like Jamal Pogues here, man. Contender Series alumni, Josh Parisian. Josh Parisian's a dangerous man, very slick for heavyweight. He did pull out of his last fight, though, for the heart palpitations against a Chase Sherman. Now you get Jamal Pogues, a little bit of a different fight right there. I think he's going to be too technical on the feet. What you think?
I think Pogues might just be a little too big as well, Derek. Nonetheless, technical. Parisian, this is actually the closest fight where I wanted to go to the other side. The gas tank Parisian worries me. We'll just talk about it more in just a bit.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Good thing to note is that Jamal Pogues is actually a 205er coming up to 265, right? And Josh Parisian, that's a big boy. All right, man. William Knight versus Marcin Prachnio. Another one right here. Give me William Knight. I'm betting against the chin of Marcin Prachnio. William Knight, if he lands on you, devastating things happen, but he has to land. What do you think?
It's the same thing as the Jordan Wright fight, Derek. I'm right there with you. I'm betting against the chin of Prachnio, but still a closer fight than I think a lot of people are giving credit for.
Yes, sir. And then lastly, A10, Jim Miller, the legend, trying to make it to UFC 300, gets a young gun coming in on short notice in Alexander Hernandez. And Hernandez, lest we forget, went down to 145, got knocked out. Made a quick comeback in like a week and a half notice. And you're fighting a dude who is ready to go here, brother. So let's just say, I'm going to make it as simple as this. If Hernandez gets it done in the first round, then he wins, of course, right? If Miller makes it out of that first round, though, I think it's going to be problems for Hernandez. So what'd you think?
It's a hell of a mountain to climb as A10 Jim Miller's at the top, man. It's a ballsy fight for Hernandez to take. I'm still going Miller, though.
There we go. All right, so one more time, flashing on the screen for those who are watching. Take a screenshot, run to your local sports book and get your picks in now while you have the opportunity. I'm going to actually recommend that you get in on this Jessica Andrade sooner than later, because I do think as time goes on and the closer we get to fight night, those odds are going to change just a little bit. All right, AJ, man, one more time, why should the people subscribe? And then let's get into the show.
Man, subscribe because you're winning the most money every single weekend, man. That's the real reason right here, folks. Yeah, you're doing it because you like us. You're doing it because you support us. But really, you're doing it to spend that pocketbook just a little bit wider and wider, man. And if you go across every single show that's out there, guess who's winning you the most money, man? It's your favorite fighter's favorite fight show right here.
100%. And I'm actually going to add one thing really quickly, AJ. I'm going to take over. And I'm going to say that at the end of the day, folks, you've got a bunch of different shows that you could choose from. The internet is a vast, vast place, right? So you're going to choose people based off of, how does it fit to your schedule, charisma, do you like the personalities, all of the fun stuff. But I'm going to tell you this is literally like what me and AJ would do back in the day in Portland at the bar watching fights just on camera. So at the end of the day, we're giving you that legitimate personal vibe, like kicking it in the bar, talking fights vibe, but we're actually picking the right winners of the fights. I mean, weird, right? Weird how that works, man. We don't toot our own horns over here, but we're just letting you know at the end of the day, we're some stand-up guys. We're no different than you guys. We love watching fights. We put the film to the test and all that good stuff, and we put our money where our mouth is. You dig? So, all right, AJ, man, let's get into these fights.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
All right, brother. Erin Blanchfield, highly, highly touted right here. And you cannot deny that she is a dark horse in this division. It doesn't matter that she's ranked number 10 currently. She was slated to fight number 1. So Jessica Andrade has been asked a lot, do you have any motivation fighting Blanchfield at number 10? And she said 2 things. She said, 1, well, somebody gave me an opportunity to fight up the ranking, so I'm going to give someone else that opportunity. Not always the wisest decision. And number 2, well, there is something in this for me. If I beat Blanchfield handedly, I get another shot at Weili Zhang. strawweight division, even though we're fighting in flyweight. So first off, make that make sense to me really quickly. How does Jessica Andrade solidify a strawweight title shot with a win over the number 10 ranked flyweight contender?
Yeah, now this is a bit of a stretch, Derick, but I think it's because this sport is a sport of what have you done for me lately? I stepped in on a short notice, Uncle Dana. I whooped the number 2's ass, Uncle Dana. You got to give my back a little bit of a scratch. Let me at Wei Lee. Let me mix up the top of the deck, see what happens. I don't know, Derick. What do you think?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's number 10, not number 2, but she was going to fight number 1. So that number 10 is a little bit different. Either way, I thought Jessica Andrade would want more of a rematch with Valentina. So I was thinking you beat Blanchfield, who was fighting number 1. Maybe that sets up a number 1 contenders fight against Santos again, a winner of that, because they both lost. I don't know. Either way, that's neither here nor there. There is incentive for both of these fighters. Now let's actually talk about it. Jessica Andrade on short notice opens up as a minus 150 favorite. Question: does Jessica Andrade on a full camp still open as a minus 150 favorite, or do you think that number swells a bit?
I think that number swells quite a bit, Derick, and I think you're right to also say jump on these numbers early, because we're going to see this number push. Once the money starts coming in on Vegas' side, man, we're going to see these numbers kind of grow and move around a little bit. But don't get me wrong, man, Erin Blanchfield is very much a dark horse in this division, as well as a very slept-on kind of a fighter. I'm glad you pointed out that Andrade taking this as a short notice fight, giving a young gun a shot because somebody else did, usually doesn't bode that well going forward for the fighters. You know, it's always good to have a hand down, extend that ladder to the homies, but when those homies are taking your lunch money, it's a little unjustified, if you will. I'm excited to see how it goes with Andrade. Do you think it's as big of a worry as she needs to be in, or are we going to see an outclassing on the feet from Andrade?
Well, here's the thing, man. And to answer this literally specifically, because this is what worries me, Jessica Andrade has fantastic jiu-jitsu. I talk about it all the time. If you're a fan of this program, you know how much we respect Jessica Andrade. Now, Lauren Murphy was able to take Andrade's back multiple times in that fight. Now, Andrade did what she literally always does. It's the bread and butter, right? So she gets her back taken. She fights the hands. If she gets brought down to her knees, she fights the hands, and then she goes to the single leg and she tries to come up every single time. This worries me because if Erin Blanchfield takes her back, I'm not sure if simply fighting the hands is going to be enough, right? Shevchenko did a good job, took Andrade down like 7-8 times or whatever the case may be before finishing her. Lauren Murphy was never able to do so. But then you got to look at Erin Blanchfield, and you have to look at, actually, let me pull it up really quickly, man, because I was just watching this fight. Erin Blanchfield had fought, it was JJ Aldrich, right? Fantastic grappler in her own right, JJ Aldrich. And what happens, man? It got to that front choke position, right? So if you come up on a single, that front choke position, Erin Blanchfield cranked in the guillotine, high elbow guillotine, got her out of there, standing too. And Jessica Andrade, I do believe, is going to be the shorter fighter here. So I think she needs to be a little more concerned than she currently is. I think that Jessica Andrade says, hey, I just kind of trained for a similar opponent, Lauren Murphy, very time-tested. This shouldn't be that much different. However, it is short notice, and that does take into account here. The question, or the concern that I had originally, though, right, was if Erin Blanchfield doesn't set up her grappling, will she be able to effectively grapple? Hard to shoot a takedown when you're off your back foot, right? So Jessica Andrade, I think that we've seen the first round blitz of Andrade time and time again, and it almost always works. Why wouldn't it work against an Erin Blanchfield here?
The only reason I can think, because I was actually thinking the same thing, Derick. Rush in, blitz in, bully her up, get her up against a cage, put her into your position and what you want to do. The only thing that worries me with that kind of aggression, Blanchfield knows that's coming. All it is letting her step off the line, and then now you're working in on your own takedown. Let her do the work for you and use that momentum against you, especially being the bigger fighter, being the one who's a little more prowess in the ground game. Pretty close fight right there. But either way, I feel like Blanchfield has that kind of in her back pocket, and that aggression can go against Andrade. That worries me right there, as well as the adrenaline dump that comes with an Andrade kind of style of fight. You know, if she doesn't get her out of there in the first round, it's going to be what feels like a lot longer of a fight for Andrade, a little more labored, a little heavier. She does have a gas tank, don't get me wrong, but still in a 5-round fight, short notice, who knows how the weight cut's going to go. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered right there.
Absolutely, and that's the biggest thing. That's what makes this interesting is that it's short notice. So does Andrade, is she going to last past 2 rounds, right? 3 rounds of beating up on Lauren Murphy. You got to remember, too, her hands are probably still a little busted up from beating up on Lauren Murphy, man. So she literally said, she's like, I had to stop punching her because my hands hurt so bad mid-fight. AJ, I'm going to tell you this much, and I'm sure if anybody has any combat sport experience, you know, if you're competing, if you're mid-competition and you feel something hurt, that thing is going to hurt like crazy when you're not competing. That's all that adrenaline and it still hurts. So it goes to show right here, man, we have kind of damaged goods in Jessica Andrade in terms of coming off that fight, which levels it out. I mean, Erin Blanchfield said it herself. This makes it kind of even competition for us. I just really think if Blanchfield can't get the takedown, it's going to be very, very tough for her to win. So let's just like level with me here, man. Is Erin Blanchfield's only chance against Andrade specifically, is her only chance taking her down?
Maybe not only chance, Derick. I think the only other different option I see here, something in the scramble, something in the guard, or not in the guard, in the Muay Thai plum, you know, sitting there in the clinch, getting things going. It's a hard fight though, and what's good for Blanchfield right now is she is a lot more motivated and has a lot more going for this fight. It seems like Andrade can kind of get lost in the minutia of the weight cut and everything else that's surrounding it, and not necessarily worried about the person standing across from in the cage. So on this one, I think it's more of a strategical game plan for Andrade versus, a strategical game plan for Blanchfield versus that mental, physical battle that Andrade is going to have to deal with. Sure, she's a smaller fighter, but this is a smaller weight class again.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, this is a bigger weight class ultimately for Andrade, right?
For Andrade.
But either way, this is the question that I think looms largest overall, and we need to talk about the props here, right? Are we seeing another one of those situations that we saw with Yair Rodriguez where Jessica Andrade has this plus 800 for her submission prop, man? Like, time and time again, I literally think people just view her as a striker. They don't think that she has any jiu-jitsu, which kind of blows my mind. Is there a chance we see a submission here on behalf of Jessica Andrade?
I think so, especially like you said, Derick, that plus 1,200 or 12,000, whatever it was on Yair Rodriguez, man. With the ground game and the pressure that Andrade is going to be putting on, as well as Blanchfield going to be trying to work for her own submissions, I think we can see some doors open up and really let Batisteca kind of show a shining of a light that she hasn't in quite a while, you know? I think the prop is a good idea, maybe not one to fully put, all your money on, but it's still a good bet nonetheless.
I mean, are we living and dying by this plus 160 TKO? I'm just not sure. Part of me, in a weird way, thinks Erin Blanchfield might be able to take it 5 rounds. I don't know if she'll win the 5 rounds. I feel like it's more in her favor if it goes 5 rounds. But something, and this is just me being honest, man. I love me some Jessica Andrade. I think she's going to win this fight. But and this is going to sound nuts, even though I have to make a pick, I kind of like the money line more than I like any of these props, bro. I don't know if she's going to get that TKO, and I don't know if she'll get that decision. I think she's going to win, but I do think Erin Blanchfield is going to have one of those performances where we say, wow, she's fucking legit. Like, I literally think she went from a win-win situation against Santos to a win-win situation with Jessica Andrade. Nothing has really changed on her half. She's like, I just want to fight. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I can see why you think that, Derick, and I also think this is going to be a kind of a performance from Blanchfield that shows the rest of the world that this girl is ready for the scrap, whether she wins or she loses. I'm picking for Andrade to win this fight. I'm also going with the TKO, but I'm going late, and I think it's going to come from a ground and pound, a tired, or something like that, the ref having to step in. I'm going Jessica Andrade, TKO, round 4.
I like the pick, man. And even though I said what I just said right now, watching back, seeing JJ Aldridge being able to land clean and flush on Blanchfield and, you know what I mean, just have much more success than you would really anticipate. Jessica Andrade is just a different level, man. When she cracks, she hurts her, right? So give me a 3rd round TKO for Jessica Andrade. We're both taking the TKO on that one. So that's a super Bloody Water podcast consensus. Both Andrade, both TKO on that one. Let's move on to the co-main event. But I'm going to tell you, before we move on, Erin Blanchfield, win or lose, it does not matter. Keep an eye on her, man. They're not hyping her up for no reason. She is legitimate. All right, bro. So like we said, this is going to be a very interesting one, especially because there's other circumstances we didn't really mention. Jordan Wright, we said spotty chin, right? But we were saying that at 185, bro. He moved up to 205 for good. Like, he asked him, they're like, yo, 205 for real? He's like, this is where I'm at now. Zach Pauga, my thing, though, is that it's like he went in toe-to-toe with Muhammad Usman, a man who has dynamite in his hands. And arguably, I mean, he was outclassed him until he got caught. And that was it. So I was thinking, okay, does that logic apply to this fight? Can he go toe-to-toe with Jordan Wright, but just get caught? Well, then again, this is the bigger guy. He's going to have a massive weight advantage if you think about it. He walks around at like 240. Jordan Wright, he did say himself, I wish there was like a 190-pound division. So this is a dude who says, I still think I'll be champ at 205, but clearly I have my work cut out for me. On the feet, if this was a barn burner back and forth, I'd give him 50-50 odds, man. But Zach Pauga is going to grind him out against the cage. Jordan Wright's a little bit of a good wrestler himself, man. He got some wrestling chops. Do we see one of those, Zach Pauga shoots in and Jordan Wright just drops elbows on him and gets the fight over? Or do we see pure domination from Zach Pauga here?
I don't know about pure domination, Derick. The one thing that gives me a little pause for concern, or that's a good thing for Jordan Wright, is his movement, man. He has very quick in and out movements. He can stay away. He has good range management. The only problem is when you push him up against cage and make it a dogfight, he is down to bite down on that mouthpiece, and when he does, his chin goes up. So it's an interesting thing because Zach Pauga has the opportunity to really bully him up, push him against the cage, and really start letting those hands fly because he is going to be the bigger guy coming in here. Now, can Jordan Wright cut the corner and dip? Can he escape the train that's going to be coming at him? I don't know, man, especially with the pressure that Zach Pauga has. It seems like a very one-sided fight that the UFC matchmakers did. It seemed like they were like, oh, Pauga has the exact right kind of style to go against this guy who's been chinny, who hasn't really done a lot for us recently, who's going up a weight class. Sure, it's going to help the chin, but then he's having to deal with more power. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting play. It's an interesting exchange, but I don't know if an exchange is right in Jordan Wright's favor. Do you think?
Well, I know when people hear this, they're immediately going to be like, you guys, you don't know MMA. Jordan Wright made his UFC debut at 205, and it's true. He did. He fought Ike Villanueva, right? A very respected Hurricane Ike, and he got him done. I mean, well, he got the job done. It was a doctor stoppage how he won, but he was putting it on him, right? So there's that. Then you have to take into consideration, at least according to Tapology, Jordan Wright has fought, this is going to be his third career fight at 205. He's fought twice, right? And he's won both fights, and there were both first-round finishes, one knockout and one submission. I believe. I could be mistaken on that. The point here is, it's not like the man has never fought at 205. It's not like he's not a game dude. Honestly, man, Jordan Wright is no slouch, bro. If he hits you and he hurts you, man, you're done. Like, that's the thing. You have to respect Jordan Wright. Zach Pauga would be very foolish to go in this fight being, I'm just going to steamroll this guy. However, how confident are you that Zach Pauga just did his last training camp, like literally training with Devin Clark every day? And look at the display Devin Clark just put on. Like, how confident does that make you in this pick?
Massively confident, Derick. So much so that when I saw how Zach Pauga was training and performing, doing his media interviews and stuff like that, this dude is on another level. And I think it's going to show with how he goes into this next fight against Jordan Wright. Like I was saying before, I think this is a really good matchup for Pauga to kind of show who he is as a fighter against a very dangerous Jordan Wright. The UFC did them a good favor in making this an exciting match that still has a lot of weight behind it.
So I will say this, man. I think Zach Pauga, he took the correct road to take after his loss against Usman, because he didn't say, oh, lucky punch. He says, no, man, there was a lot for me to learn, a lot of lessons there. So, yeah, motivated. We'll see what happens. But Jordan Wright, man, he looks lean. He looks ready to go. We'll see what happens, man. Let's talk these props. This is the thing that blows my mind. Minus 160 TKO for Zach Pauga, plus 375 for Jordan Wright. It's almost like, huh? I'm imagining when they're saying that, they're saying Zach Pauga takes him down and ground and pounds him to a TKO. If they're thinking just purely on the hands, who is making this line, bro? Because give me Jordan Wright at the minus one. Like, give me plus 375 TKO Jordan Wright all day long. Throw $5 on it all day long. If this is our mentality here, I mean, what are you making of this?
It's ludicrous, Derick. Especially, I think it has to be the fact that Jordan Wright has underproduced in his last couple fights. This guy's a very talented striker. I go back to what I was saying in the beginning of him being a karate specialist in and out with that blitz attack. You let this dude get comfortable and put a three-piece to your face, you're taking a nap. Yeah. It's crazy to see that he has a minus 160 prop against him. I'd imagine it's a ground and pound. Also crazy that this is a plus 1,200 decision for Jordan Wright. They don't think this dude has any chance to go the distance at all.
Well, he's a pure finisher, right? He's never seen a third round, if I remember correctly. And at the end of the day, This dude, 12 wins, 12 finishes, bro. We're 7 knockouts, 5 submissions. Like, this is what I'm saying. Put some respect on Jordan Wright's name. With that being said, I'm not saying he can't knock him out. I think it's on the realm of possibilities. I just think Zach Pauga, if he goes, I'm going to win this fight. I'm not going to be flashy. I'm not going to try to earn performance bonus. I'm going to win this fight. He grinds him out against the cage. He takes him down multiple times, and he wins either via TKO, ground and pound, or via decision. I just think that I just wanted to know, like, minus 160 Pauga, it has to be for that ground and pound TKO. I don't see it being just pure fisticuffs, but who am I? All right, man. So listen, give me Zach Pauga. The question is going to be TKO or decision. How do you see it?
I'm going TKO, Derick. I think it's going to be a round 2 TKO for Zach Pauga, ground and pound smash style. What do you think?
Oh, man, it pains me. It does pain me. Just because if we're thinking logically here, purely logically, Jordan Wright's never seen a third round. So, I mean, does it make sense to go decision here? Like, he's a blood and guts fighter, man. And Zach Pauga, like I said, with this style, decision finds it very, very hard for me. He opens himself up to danger simply to give himself an opportunity in the fight. That's why you love Jordan Wright. That's why you're a fan of Jordan Wright. All right, yeah, give me TKO. Zach Pauga, man. I'm not even going to give a round on that one, bro. But I will say, over and under, what do you think it is?
1.5.
Yeah, okay. What do you think has the favorite, over or under? Under. Bro. Minus 175 for the under, plus 145 for the over. My Lord. So, yeah, they think he's going to get him out of there early, man. I'll just say this. Sprinkle a little on that plus 375 Jordan Wright, man. This dude absolutely has a puncher's chance. Absolutely. All right, man. Okay, this is where it gets fun. Josh Parisian versus Jamall Pogues, right? And put some respect on Pogues' name. His name is Pogues, not Pogues or Pogues or whatever the case may be. It's Pogues. And this dude had a very inspiring interview, before this fight. Basically saying, y'all think y'all are tough, y'all are gangsters. Let me bring you to my hood. Y'all are only safe in a gym. When it comes to that real life, listen, you can know all the karate, you can know all the kung fu, Kevin Holland style, all that. Someone got a thing on him. I mean, come on, brother. We're not beating bullets, brother. What are we saying here? Either way, we are talking about an organized sport here, and we're talking about, a real deal heavyweight who moves like a 155er. Nah, maybe like a 185er or something like that. And then we got Jamall Pogues, 205er, says, I'm going up against the big boys, and I'm ready to show them what's up. In my opinion, this is 2 technical guys, right? The real question here, and I don't even want to question it because you can't question it. Josh Parisian is legit. He's legit, man. Will to win, right? I think that's where it's really going to come into question here. I think Jamall Pogues really, really, really wants to win. However, we've seen him at 205 be a decision fighter. Josh Parisian, on the other hand, that fight with Alan Boudreaux, that was a good scrap, bro. That was a good scrap. Let me actually take a peek. What do you think about this matchup while I'm looking this up?
Yeah, no, I'm excited for this one, Derick. This was one of the few, well, actually the only fight on the card where I was thinking about changing my pick around, just because of the heart of Josh Parisian, man. You go back to that Boudreaux fight you're talking about. He gets dropped in the beginning, looks rough. Ref's about to step in. He switches it around, and then the third round comes, and these dudes are literally going off of pure will and instinct. No, they don't have a single drop of gas left in that tank, and they are just trying as hard as they can, because at that point in both of their fight, it was the will to survive, and Parisian has that dog in him. So that's one of the reasons why this is going to be a really, really good fight right here.
Absolutely. And I was just looking it up to say, yeah, the Alan Boudreaux fight was crazy. He did get TKO'd against Dontel Mays, which that went 3 rounds, man. So go 3 rounds with Dontel Mays is pretty impressive. That split decision win over Roque Martinez, lost the decision to Parker Porter. It's not the most impressive resume, man, but we know he could hang with some of the hybrids, right? Which is a good thing. Jamall Pogues, what comes in his favor is he's coming from a lower weight class, very technical, very quick, right? Jamall Pogues, did you know this? Let me just double check that I'm correct here. Yeah, I am. In his amateur days, man, this dude has a lot of fights between amateur and pro ultimately, but Jamall Pogues has a win over Jared Vandera. You know that? It was an amateur, so it's not like the biggest deal. It's amateur. I think they're both, relatively early in the career. But that just goes to show Jared Vandera is a big, big man. So it's not like he has not faced big, powerful guys before. I don't see how Josh Parisian per se wins this fight unless he has a very, very high volume and manages not to get clipped. Because Alan Boudreaux clipped him so bad. It was a standing hammer fist. And he literally just like... And listen, you get hit in the right spot, anybody's going to do that. You can't be this heavyweight. What are we talking about here? But I think Jamall Pogues, with that precision, if he clips him in the right way, man, he could really touch that chin. But then again, it's heavyweight. So it's like, what are we talking about? So I guess the real question here is really breaking it down analysis-wise. Why is Jamall Pogues a minus 240 favorite, in your opinion?
I think it's the lack of output and the lack of star power that brings Parisian to the table. Now, that being said, I think Parisian has a lot better of a chance than some people are giving him in this one because Pogues likes to walk you down. He likes to be the guy bullying you down. All you need is one of those Parisian head kicks that he likes to throw. You go to block the body, catch one on the chin, taking a nap. Now, with the power that Pogues has, I'm glad you were touching on the fact that Pogues has fought bigger guys because I think Parisian and a lot of people are leaning into the fact that he's going to be the bigger dude. He's going to be the big guy going in there. I'm imagining they're both going to walk in around 240, 250. I don't think there's going to be a weight discrepancy here. And with the technique that Pogues has and with how not easily, but precisely Parisian went down in his last fight, I think Pogues is going to see some holes and exploit those holes in the striking. What do you think, Derick?
Yeah, man. And I'm just looking just to confirm, right? For the Dana White Contender Series fight, Pogues came in about 250. So, I mean, shit. That's a big boy. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the Contender fight was heavyweight, obviously, right? But Jamall Pogues did talk about being in good shape. So I'm sorry, because I was so just thinking about that. I forgot the question. Tell me the question one more time. If you lost it's okay. Oh, yeah.
No, will the technique of Pogues present an option here more so than the willingness and the gas tank that Parisian has?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In my opinion, I truly do think so, man. Why do you think Josh Parisian lost to Parker Porter? Parker Porter is very much that blitzing in technical guy, right? Not too much of, but it's more, I'm going to pick at you. I'm going to pick at you for 3 rounds. Jamall Pogues can do that. He can absolutely do that. I think this dude is ready to go. You can't sleep on Josh Parisian, but I do like Jamall Pogues as a minus 240 favorite here. The question is, how does he get it done? Because for heavyweights, looking at these props, I'm a little astounded. Plus 500 TKO for Parisian, plus 350 for Pogues. These are heavyweights. So the odds makers are literally like, yeah, they're probably going to go to a decision. And in like, what reality do you put these guys on the main event to go to a decision?
The last one out there, Derick, the last reality, and nobody's thinking. What blows my mind, that plus 135 decision prop for Pogues, and still the plus 400 for Parisian. Those are the best odds that each fighter has. I'm thinking the odds makers are planning on these boys getting tired, getting sloppy, and then just really just laying on each other for the last round. That's the only way I think this one's getting decision. What about you, Derick?
You know what? Yeah, I mean, the last time that I picked heavyweight decision, Justin Tafa knocked out Parker Porter in like 30 seconds. So I'm not going to say that just because it went bad once, you're not going to pick it again. But honestly, if you really, really just like big brain it, right? 2 big boys right here throwing heavy leather who they're not like these are wrestlers or nothing. They're going to be trading in the pocket. You'd imagine somebody's going down. I'm going to go Jamall Pogues here. I was already confident on Pogues, but I'm going to make that TKO. I'm going on a night of finishes, man. And oftentimes, AJ, is it not these cards with these fighters that everyone's like, terrible card, and then that's when all the finishes happen. So, I mean, how are you seeing it?
And I just wanted to go back to that, Derick. You said at the beginning, this is reminiscent of the card we had last year when everyone was falling out and all the stuff you were saying before. Yeah. That card, if I remember correctly, was fire. And I think this one is going to provide some fireworks too. Me personally, Derick, I'm going Jamall Pogues. I'm going TKO, and I'm going round 1. I think it's going to be an early fight. We'll see. Parisian's a dog, so take that last one with a grain of salt. But I do think I'm going with the TKO knockout.
Yeah, I'd have to go, man. Give me like a round 2 for Pogues, man. Clearly, because we also saw that Josh Parisian, while he is game as hell and he has willpower and all that, he does get tired pretty quickly, too. So we did see that. All right, man. So, where are we? Oh, yes. This is actually, I'm excited now. Now I'm going to lit back up. William Knight, oh my God, versus Marcin Prachnio. This can go one of 2 ways. This can go William Knight is going to knock Prachnio out, or Prachnio is going to knock William Knight out. Or in a strange, weird twist of events, Marcin Prachnio is going to pick at William Knight. William Knight not going to be able to close the distance, and he's going to win out some weird decision while getting rocked a couple times. I don't know. In my opinion, those are really the only path to victory. Now, one thing that William Knight made clear once again that I think people have judged him for before, and I want to know if you're judging him for this, is that he does not watch any film tape on his opponents. He just says, I go in there and I fight. And I respect that because oftentimes you don't want to make the moment bigger than what it is. At the end of the day, you're going in there, you're going to fight. You know how to fight. It probably would help to know your opponent's tendencies, but you don't want to make them bigger and larger than life. Can William Knight go in there and fight a stereotypical William Knight fight where he blitzes forward with big bombs, over here dude benching like 455 or whatever, and just take Prachnio's head off? Who we know, Prachnio, though we love and respect him, the man has a spotty chin. We've seen it time and time again. Can William Knight effectively go in there and get the job done early?
I think so, Derick, and especially because not only a spotty chin, but a willingness to stand in the pocket when you probably shouldn't, man. Prachnio is down to bite down on that mouthpiece, and that's kind of right here. Again, we were talking about it before. I'm betting against the chin of Prachnio just because it has let me down before. Now, going to what you're saying about the not watching film, I think it all comes down to the coach of William Knight and their relationship and their trust and how you're able to break things down. Because as a fighter, I don't really care how this guy fights. Yeah, I just want to know, okay, watch out for the right hand, watch out for the left leg. All right, what's he good at? Cool. I don't want to make this a bigger thing. But now speaking as a coach, I'm going to watch everything that this guy does, man. I'm breaking this thing down analytically. I want to know I want to know what this dude wakes up and eats for breakfast, man. I want to know if he pees first or goes number 2 in the morning. I want to know every single thing, but I don't want my fighter to stress about it. That's right. I can see where he's coming from on that one.
Yeah, I was trying to take a look, seeing what camp this dude is coming out of. It looks like Ed Thornton, main coach right here. I don't know, man. Tapology is not always too accurate, but it says he's fighting out of Thornton Martial Arts. Either way, man, this is the point here. Marcin Prachnio, this is a dude who doesn't really seem too fazed by this matchup. And actually, I mean, these two, they were booked for that card that I was talking about, that Lewis versus Spivak card, that original one. And William Knight pulled out due to undisclosed reasons. Prachnio did not pull out. It was Knight. Now, Prachnio was offered a couple different opponents, and he opted, I'll just rebook this William Knight fight. So in a way, you kind of feel like maybe he's a little confident here, man. Here's the thing. This is what I'm looking at ultimately. Let me pull it up really quickly. I want to show the people. So we're all looking at this. Let me see. All right, here we go. Let me make a couple of changes. Sorry, folks, for the abrupt change in decision. All right, William Knight versus Marcin Prachnio here. So clearly the betting odds are showing, at least on Tapology, -125 here for Prachnio, right? If you're looking at a couple of these statistics, they're the same age. If you look at the weight, we do know that William Knight has a propensity to get pretty up there in weight, but hopefully he will make weight here. 5'10" for a William Knight, right? 6'3" for Marcin Prachnio. Very similar reach. So my whole thing is, when I look at these two fighters, I can see Marcin Prachnio doing something similar that he did to, I believe it was Khalil Roundtree when he won, where he just kind of picked at Khalil Roundtree, leg kick, just kind of picked around him, around the cage for 3 rounds and won a decision. Like, I can see that. But then again, we're in Vegas and we're in the small cage. And if William Knight needs to barn rush you to get you back against the cage and land a big one or clinch you up and throw those big shots, I also think he can do it. Now, twofold question. Question number 1 is, William Knight in the clinch, how effective can he be against a guy who is 5 inches taller than him? So let's hit that one first, and then I'll ask the second.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Derick, I'd say about a 3, only because of the pressure that William Knight is able to have and the kind of power he's able to generate. We saw him in the clinch. Was it the Devin Clark fight where he basically jumped up 6 feet in the air and put his knee to Devin Clark's nose? It can happen. I mean, the boy got hops. He's basically got bunnies in those calves, so he can get up. Now, against a guy who's 6'3" with the kind of agility and movement that Prachnio has, that's what kind of worries me. Because when I'm thinking about how this fight goes down, I see William Knight just marching the whole way and following Prachnio and just continuously following while Prachnio is just picking him apart, staying at distance. And with that kind of output and nothing really getting damaged as far as towards Prachnio, I think it's going to be a hard fight for Knight. Now, that being said, I do think Knight's going to knock him out. So we'll see how it all unfolds.
Well, this is going to be my other question. William Knight, right? He's been knocked out twice in his professional career thus far. And it's been to 2 behemoths. It's been to Devin Clark, that fight where he jumped up with that crazy knee. It was a ground and pound finish. And the other one was Tafon Dadon and Chukwi, where he got knocked out in the first round. 2 behemoths of men. Can Marcin Prachnio, does he have the style? Listen, Marcin Prachnio is a fantastic fighter. This dude has legitimate skills. I'm just concerned about the chin. I'm not concerned about his offense. Can he do the same thing to William Knight?
Well, and that, man, 73% of his wins, or Prachnio's wins, are by knockout, man. 11 knockout wins. This dude can get it done. Now, the real thing that concerns me against like a Felipe Lins or a Mike Rodriguez, the Magomed Ankalaev makes a lot of sense. The Sam Alvey, you're losing a lot of these fights to people that are around your same level, like not necessarily. Yeah. I mean, the Magomed Ankalaev, this dude's a dog. It's hard to lose that one, but you do have a win against your Khalil Roundtree. So there is things for Prachnio can be up and down as a kind of a mid-tier heavyweight fighter. I don't know. This one's a real hard fight to kind of lock down exactly what's going to happen.
I'm just gonna say that we know. Because we love me some Khalil Roundtree, right? Some Bangkok ready, Khalil. Mm-hmm. It's what version shows up, right? I don't think, that's a good feather in his cap having Khalil Roundtree under there. All right, man. Listen, give me William Knight. Give me a TKO. I'm clearly going balls to the wall here. I'm seeing just a night chocked full of just knockouts. The way that they're setting it up, it's almost primed for it. And you got William Knight by TKO too, correct?
Oh, yeah. William Knight, TKO. I'm going round 2.
All right, right on, man. All right, so I missed out, and folks, one more time, William Knight. There we go. Oh, look at that, actually. When he opened up, minus 120 for William Knight, plus 100 for Prachnio, so definitely the lines have flipped. Tell me who, on the last one, on the Pogues fight, did you go TKO on that one?
Yes.
All right, now here we go. So this is going to be the opening bout. This is a fun one, bro. A10 Jim Miller versus Alexander Hernandez. And Alexander Hernandez, as expected, he opens up as a pretty substantial favorite. And I think for good reason, man. I'm not joking here. Alexander Hernandez, did he have that burst of fame, knocking out Beneil Dariush and then going into the Cowboy fight and then everything kind of crumbled for him? Is he trying to find his home? Yes. He's a good fighter. But it's like he hasn't found that home. You just got knocked out at 145. Has it been enough time for you to take this short notice fight? His whole thing is win or lose. This isn't a make or break for me, which on one hand makes me feel good. On the other hand, kind of like that's not probably the mentality you should have. You just got knocked out. You probably want to win this fight, right? But I think his whole thing is him saying, I'm making the moment too big and I'm kind of choking, right? I think that's what it is. And performance anxiety is a real thing, right? At the end of the day, when you're standing, so I just did Naga, right? You're standing, all those people watching you, things just change a little bit. It's not the gym anymore, right? So him in the UFC on the largest stage, come on, bro. Standing across from Jim Miller, come on, bro. Like, this is a legend. You grew up watching this guy. Now, will that patented Alexander Hernandez put it on your ass in the first round? I mean, will it work? Is Jim Miller the guy who's only been knocked out? If I'm correct, you could check me on this one. I think Jim Miller's only been knocked out twice in his entire career, if I'm correct. Is this a guy? Was I correct there? Come on, baby. What are we talking about? Can you do this to Jim Miller? Can he do this to Jim Miller in the first round? Can he just dust him?
In the first round, yes. And you catch Jim Miller unexpected. You catch him on an entrance when he wasn't ready. There's some kind of mystical, almost like Mystic Mac, man. There's some kind of stuff that happens when Alexander Hernandez is on and performing, like you said, man, with the Dariush. But he needs to find that. Have we seen him do that sporadically? Can he do it again? Yes, especially in the first round. Mm-hmm. But then once A10 Jim Miller gets on his game, man, that's where it's going to be hard. You cannot lose the momentum against a fighter like A10 Jim Miller. That's
right. And I'm going to look up right now just so we can see, right? If you're looking at Alexander Hernandez and you're looking at when he got, I said Renato Moicano. I forgot. That was that second round knockout against Billy Q. That was the last one, man. That was recent, bro. That was 2 months ago.
2 months ago, yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 months enough. I'm not joking. Seriously, is 2 months enough time for your brain to recover to get into a? No, it's not. It's not. And that's the thing, is that it's like, obviously he had to get medically cleared to make this fight, but it's just like, is it okay? So this is my question, because at the end of the day, we both know it's not a wise decision. But like, if Alexander Hernandez loses this one in a devastating fashion, you just lost 3 in a row, finished 3 times, you could arguably get cut, right? Like, at the end of the day, he even said it. I'm trying to go back to 145. After saying, oh yeah, by the way, my dick didn't even work when I was cutting for 145, right? Headlines right there. Of course, that made the headlines. But if he's trying to make 145 his home, he's doing like one last dance at 155 with a great opponent. If he beats Jim Miller, that puts him right back on track. I mean, I think the moment is pretty big for him right here, which tends to make me believe spotty chin, right? Because you're not probably fully recovered from getting knocked out. Jim Miller, can we see another Eric Gonzalez moment, another knockout, another stiffer moment from Jim Miller?
I think so, Derek, and I'm glad you brought up the performance anxiety that has Alexander Hernandez, or had Alexander Hernandez, shook a little bit, because now that he's rehydrated, if he's able to get this win, I think this is going to propel him and maybe force him into that 155 pound, or learn how to do a better cut for 145. Now, though, can Jim Miller have that kind of performance? The stars are lining up for Jim Miller to really solidify that this dude is still a dog and killing the young and up-and-comers who are going, man. You give me a dude who just got knocked out 2 months ago in a smaller weight class, and it's a short notice fight, and he's going to have all this pressure going up against somebody who's, prospectively an idol of mine. Like, come on, man. This seems to be not a gimme for A10 Jim Miller. Still going to be a hard fight, but it seems like the chips are stacked in one direction.
So this kind of means that if you're watching this right now, go look at what the odds are, because Jim Miller opened at plus 190. Let's hit that line right there, bro. Like, what are we talking about here? Plus 190. You're looking at plus 1,000 for a TKO against a guy who just got knocked out 2 months ago. What are we hearing? What are we seeing?
I just checked the odds, Derek. Plus 194 for Jim Miller, man. And they're giving Alexander a minus 218. So they swelled a little, or they've moved a little bit. But just as far as Alexander Hernandez, not much. But
even
still.
if it's going down from minus 230, that means that we're going to start to see money coming in on Jim Miller late. I think people are going to do their homework and they're going to see that, at least the smart handicappers, right? So let's get in on the Jim Miller. I do like the TKO. And this is in the situation which it's happened like multiple times. First round, Hernandez gives you everything he got. Second round, third round, you don't really got it. Jim Miller, he's not going to get tired, and he just puts it on you, and then it's an attrition thing, right? It doesn't have to be the most substantial shot, but especially I cannot speak enough about you need to recover in between these bouts, man. You can't just jump back into action, not against these guys, and especially not against A10 Miller, a man who has fought everybody there is to fight and finished so many people. Give me Jim Miller here, and I can't believe I'm going to do it here, but I'm going a night full of knockouts. Give me the TKO, baby. Jim Miller, round 3 TKO against Alexander Hernandez at 155 where he's hydrated. How do you see it?
Man, check that prop too, folks. Plus 1,000 for the Jim Miller TKO. Jump on that money right away, because these lines are definitely going to shift. I'm going to go decision, Derek. I'm going to switch it up. It up on you. I wanted that TKO. I think it can happen, but I think I'm going to give Alexander Hernandez a little more credit here. I'm going decision. Still rocking with Jim Miller, but I think it's going to go all 3 rounds right here.
No, I think that's also a wise move here. I'm just going to say this, man. This pick scares me. Alexander Hernandez can win this fight. Like, that's at the end of the day. He has the potential to win the fight. It's just a matter of when you see a habit develop, a pattern, right? And it's just like time and time again. And you see the dude get knocked out at a lower weight class, come back up. This is what we're going to see with Dan Hooker. Like, if Dan Hooker would have fought homeboy, Jalen Turner, right? We all would have been worried, be like, you just got knocked out at 145. You coming up to 155 against a dude who knocks everybody out, submits everybody? Come on, bro. So Jim Miller, that's how we seen it right there. And with that being said, folks, oh my God. So I guess now that we talked about this is going to be a fun card, bro. This is going to be a fun card. But we have more. Wait, there's more. Sleepers, baby. Let's get it.
It's time for some fight night.
If you ain't paying attention, you're going to sleep on me and I'm going to wake you up.
All right, my man. We got some fun ones here. I mean, you got a fun one. I got one that I don't know how fun it's going to be, but I know that the guys in my sleeper, sheesh, what are we talking about here? So, AJ, kick us off, man. Who you got for your sleeper?
Man, my sleeper is exciting, Derek. I'm going AJ Fletcher versus Themba Gorimbo, man. Right. And why this one is exciting is because it's a flash and dash kind of fight, bro. Both of these dudes are exciting, powerful, know how to strike, know when to strike, and provide a little bit of excitement, a little bit of entertainment. And that's really what this one is, man. This is one of those fights on the prelims that's going to get everybody excited for the main card. Spinning elbows, back kicks, heel strikes, all kinds of crazy shit is going to be coming from both of these guys, and expect a knockout, man. Like I said, flash and dash kind of fighters. And you can see Derek just pulled it up. AJ Fletcher needs a win in the UFC. He loses this fight to a dude who's making his UFC debut. It's Cut City all day long. Now, Gorimbo, he's a real deal, man, but he's never been tested like he's going to be tested with Fletcher. Having that kind of explosiveness that both of these dudes provide a lot of different X's and O's that get into this fight. But like I said, folks, either way, this one's going to be ending fast. Derek, can you go back to how many knockouts? Yeah, both of these dudes have, a lot of people are expecting knockout.
Oh, how many are expecting? Yeah, here we go.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people are expecting knockout for Fletcher, but Garimbo also has killer instincts too, man. This one's going to be a fun, fast fight. Derek, what do you think?
I think that this is going to be look at that. Look at how goofy that is, man. Yeah, I think that this is going to be a fun fight, bro. I think AJ Fletcher is absolutely, hold on, let me get back on camera. I think AJ Fletcher is absolutely no joke, especially when it comes down to that just like beast double leg smash style. I'm just going to American freestyle your ass and just put you to the ground. But then again, you got to take a look at this guy, man. This guy is good. I think we had a little bit of a similar idea when we were picking our sleepers here, because when you look at his finishes, man, look at all these submission victories here. 3 first-round submissions. 3 second-round submissions right here. Just total 6 submissions, 1 knockout, 3 decisions. He's long. Fighting a guy like AJ Fletcher, I mean, he's going to have to try to create that distance, as much distance as possible when we're talking about like that tiny cage. But when you look at these, man, triangle choke, second round, elbow knockout, first round, all of those chokes early, they came, I mean, armbar, darce, guillotine, all that good stuff. That's what I would look for right there, the guillotine for AJ Fletcher shooting in. AJ's going to have to be smart. That's it, man. This is going to be a fun battle of wits, I think. Now, with that being said, I don't have nearly as much to say in regards to my sleeper, but let me just rattle off a couple statistics for you people. All right, folks. Y'all remember a dude, right? This dude came in with a lot of hype, and this dude's name is Jamall Emmers. I don't want y'all to forget about this man. Jamall Emmers is a very, very dangerous individual. This is a dude right here who, let's take a look at the resume, right? 7 knockouts, 3 submissions, 8 decisions. That's the part where people kind of get a little weirded out. If you'll remember, the claim to fame, Chaz Skelly waiting in the cage back in February of 2021. He's waiting in the cage. He's ready to fight. You know what I mean? It's one of Chaz Skelly's last fights, and Jamall Emmers doesn't show up. And we don't know what happened, right? Well, the fight got canceled ultimately because of some back spasm, something for Jamall Emmers, and that was kind of the fall off. Then he got heel hooked by Pat Sabatini, and we just haven't seen him since. Probably got his knee destroyed. I'm hoping that he didn't, but probably. We also saw him go get Giga kicked by Giga Chikadze, right? But he had actually a really, really good back and forth with Giga Chikadze, and that's how I knew this dude was for real. This dude came in, bunch of finishes and all that good stuff. At the end of the day, imagine this is your scenario, right? Heel hooked in your last fight, canceled bout against Chaz Skelly. Yeah, you're coming off of, you had that win, right, against Vince Chikero. But at the end of the day, you probably want a safe fight to return back to the octagon. No, sirree, Bob. This dude says, you know who I want to fight, bro? And apologies because I'm going to mispronounce this dude's name. I want Khusein Askhabov, bro. Let's go. 23-0. This dude has, I actually wrote it down because this is how important it is. 23-0. This dude is 16 finishes, 10 knockouts, 6 TKOs, 8 first-round finishes. However, he's a 135er moving up to 145. So that's the one favor in terms of Jamall Emmers. At the end of the day, man, this is a sleeper because who does that? Who says, let me just go in and fight this dude nobody wants to fight, making his UFC debut undefeated, 23-0 from Russia? I mean, come on, bro. So when we look at the resume, let me just show you all this dude's resume, and then we'll move on from here. Look at this, bro. First off, ridiculous, right? But look at this. Oh, look at all that, man. He's just smashing everybody. Who wants it, man? This dude will literally, I was watching some tape on this guy, AJ, man. This dude will literally grab you, spin to the back, suplex you over your head, then armbar you, and then just move to a different position and choke you and just do whatever he needs to do to either knock you out, submit you. This dude's going to be nasty. I think, though, this is going to be a sleeper, and I'm going to leave it at this. I think Jamall Emmers might give this dude a tough time, bro. I think he might give him a tough time, and I'm just going to leave it at that. What do you think of that one, man? And we'll move on.
Derek, this one's exciting for a lot of different reasons. You named a vast majority of them, but one thing that gets me a little excited, especially for Askhabov, however you pronounce it, man. My bad if you're watching. But either way, you show up, all right, I'm gonna show up to the biggest fight club in the world, get on all kinds of TV, have a bunch of eyes on me. Who do I want to fight? Joe Anderson Brito, dog. Give me one of the dogs. Okay, fight falls through. You know what? I'll take Herbert Burns too. Give me another dog. Well, fuck it. I'll go Jamall Emmers. This dude, Askhabov, is very game to fight some very dangerous opponents. And why? It's because he's dangerous, Derek. This is going to be a very fun fight you picked.
And that's why you love MMA, because people are not scared to risk their O's. This ain't boxing, right? It ain't hand picking. Give me the biggest, baddest guy. Now, AJ, we're actually running a little late on time, so we're not going to have time to do a full prelim pour-over. Let me do appropriately. Boom. There we go. All right. Felt good. All right. Here we go. Let's just show the people. A couple fights you should watch out for. Juan Camilo Ronderos versus Clayton Carpenter. You should absolutely watch out for this fight. That's going to be a fun fight. Ovince St. Preux making his return. Look at this dude. Third on the opening up for the prelims. Felipe Lins. Oh, Lord. Show some respect. But that should be a fun fight. I'm hoping OSP can get back on track, man. You know what I'm saying? What do you think?
I'm hoping OSP shows up as well, Derek, because if Felipe Lins gets going downhill, it's a long night.
Absolutely. I'm excited for this fight. Lina Lansberg versus Mayra Bueno Silva. Now, I imagine after that, we have to address this. We cannot address this. After the fight against, was Stephanie Eggers? Yes, Stephanie Egger, right? After that fight where Mayra Bueno Silva armbarred her and she didn't tap, well, she tapped, but ref was like, huh, what happened? And Mayra Bueno Silva let it go. And then she's like, oh, I didn't tap. What do you thought? Listen, Lina Lansberg, I know you're the elbow queen. You got to tap. Because if you don't tap, she's ripping your arm off, man. You know she learned her lesson on that one. There's no coming back from that one. I'm not going to lie to you. There's one bout that I didn't really look up. I know Evan Elder, and I know Evan Elder is good. Nazim Sadikov. Do not know about this gentleman, but I am intrigued. Do you know anything about this guy, AJ?
I don't, Derek. And the only reason I didn't really look into it is because it's the main prelim fight. So there must be some heat behind it. I didn't want to pick it as a sleeper because it's so high up on the card. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun, though. And like you said, man, Evan Elder, he is game. So I'm excited to see what Nazim is able to bring to the table right here.
This dude looks like he's game, man. Look at all fucking right hook, TKO, rear naked, oh, come on, man. And believe it or not, folks, that's all the bouts that you got right there, man. So let me just take one quick look before we hop up out of here. We were supposed to have, that's right, Ramiz Brahimaj. He had to pull out. We were supposed to fight. This was supposed to be the original Vera Sandhagen. Jim Miller, Mowgli Benitez, GM3. Oh, Abu Smagomedov. I forgot about that one. That's right, GM3. This one, I'm sad about it. Joe Selecki in the Saint Denis fight that getting pulled out. Not fun. All right, man. Listen, fun night of fights ahead of us this Saturday, just because it is the hangover, I guess you could say, of the Islam Makhachev Volkanovski discrepancy. By the way, before we get out of here, AJ, heart to heart, man to man. Have you had any second thoughts about your original, that Volk discussion that we have? Have you, come on. Have you come to the light?
Because the internet has doubled down, man. Everybody is on Volk's side. Islam cheated. There's IVs going on. Ali Abdelaziz doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He admitted to the cheating. No, honestly, yeah, man. I mean, I'll let it all out, man. Islam won the fight. Come on.
But you love some Volk, right? You gotta love some Volk. But come on, people. Islam Makhachev got his hand raised in enemy territory. He said it. Guys, like it or not, right now, I am the best in the world. However, UFC still gave Alexander Volkanovski pound-for-pound crown, so obviously this fight meant nothing. And the people who was getting at us, I actually had some people getting at us on some of the comments on some of our videos, on the shorts, talking about, if Volkanovski, or if Islam Makhachev wasn't fighting for pound, what was this, all the Listen, I'm arguing the same thing, bro. I thought this whole entire thing was for pound, but at the end of the day, should Makhachev be number one pound for pound? I'm just talking in general. For beating Alexander Volkanovski, when you have a John Jones, you have a, you know what I'm saying? You have all these other dudes that are about to be coming back into the limelight being like, nah, bro, you know what I'm saying? I'm the guy. Kamaru Usman, if he beats Leon Edwards, is he not number one pound for pound? What are we talking about? All right, folks. That's it. I know, long rant. We were excited this episode. I thought this was a fun one. We're going to be back on Monday. And by Monday, we need at least 10, 15 subscribers by that point. Rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the fun stuff. But more importantly, just tune into the fights. Have a good time. Let the people know that the Bloody Water Podcast is your favorite fighter's favorite fight show. AJ, what you got for the people? We'll head up out of here.
Woo, you said it best, Derek. At the very least, just make sure you get your bets in, make sure you watch your fights, and make sure you're subscribed so that we know you're out there winning some money. Let the folks know that you're following the best sports breakdowns, analysis, betting, wagering show on the entire universe right now, man. Ain't nobody out here doing it like we do, winning you the most money, we win you. Get out there and let your friends know.
100%. All right, folks, that's it for us. Until next time, peace.